hadn't been in it, that he was a bit rusty. Well, that doesn't bode very well for some of these guys, particularly the likes of Emerson Fittipaldi. So it's probably a good thing he's been pounding around for a couple of hours trying to just get up to speed with it all, because maybe there's a little bit of rusty behaviour out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for these guys that haven't really been sim racing. I know that Franchitti, for example, he saw it all came from us, didn't it? Because he started watching the first All-Star Esports battle a couple of weeks ago. Text me saying, I'm going to get myself and there he is with his. He must have been paid to wear those sunglasses, but anyway, he suddenly then was like, yeah, I'm going to get on board with this esports stuff. I'm going to see Darren Turner tomorrow. He's actually at the moment just on a spare testing rig while his own rig is being built. Juan Pablo Montoya out there as well, Oriol Servia. And I think so many drivers saw what was going on in the first All-Star Esports battle and then have got stuck into it from there, really.
Yeah, and it was great to see the likes of Juan Pablo Montoya start. Tony Kanaan came in last time for that Indianapolis race and actually was pretty good as well. And Dario, yeah, he was messaging, wasn't he, from the first weekend, saying how much practice he was going to get in. He was off to Darren Turner's base performance simulator place. And, well, let's see if practice pays off for him. It's been a couple of weeks in the making, I would say, for Dario.
Yeah,
Emerson Fittipaldi, a couple of hours in the making. So maybe we shouldn't give Emerson the favourite tag just yet.
No, absolutely. Big pressure on Dario Franchitti then. There is actually a betting site that is putting odds on these things, and it had Dario at 20-1, which he wasn't impressed with. We'll wait and see what he can do. Oriol Servia out there, Paul Tracy, the Canadian, the ex-Indycar and Champ Car racer, 2003 Champ Car champion, Paul Tracy, Darren Turner, who we've I think did Darren Turner race last week in the in the pros category? No, okay, fine.
No,
I made that up.
But runs base performance simulators.
No, he didn't. That was Johnny Adam, because we had that argument about British.
It was
Touring
Johnny
Car
Adam, whether he'd had a British Touring Car win and he'd had a podium own. There we go.
I tell you what, you can. I don't really know if I'm allowed to, but you can download British Touring Car season reviews from I don't know if it was Duke Video. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but that is something that I will be doing, because they've got all the season reviews there from the 90s and stuff like that.
I used to train when I was racing fully. I'd be on a treadmill grinding out some miles, and I'd put on like a vintage 95 touring car race, not having a clue what happened, and just watch it. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
not Johnny Adams' time though.
No, we're talking Alain Menu and Ricard Rydell and all those guys. Anyway, enough of that. Here is qualifying for the Legends race, and these are the Brabham BT44Bs. And this is Dario Franchitti, who almost getting collected there. And he didn't love the fact that he had a purple car, to be perfectly honest with you. He wasn't the best pleased with that, but he's out there in fourth place at the moment. Emanuele Pirro out there too, the multiple Le Mans winner, and Franchitti across the line. And I think we're only in the practice session at the moment, so that's why there's other cars out on circuit. We're not in qualifying yet, but that's actually pretty tight up at the front, isn't it?
That's super close. I have to say, these cars look fantastic. I imagine they're seriously tricky to drive. So whilst they might be a bit rusty, the drivers driving them, we've not given them an easy task, because compared to the Tatus that everyone else is driving that will be glued to the ground with little power and loads of grip, this will be the exact opposite. So much power, no grip, minimal downforce, super cool car, but it's going to be really difficult to keep on the track. And we've already seen a spin this time last lap. I don't know who it was for, but Franchitti avoided it. I imagine we're going to see plenty more of them.
Franchitti, 46 years of age, 3 times Indy 500 winner, 4-time IndyCar Series champion, and also had a couple of Formula One tests, most notably with Jaguar. Almost ended up in Jaguar with Formula One, but that didn't work out in the end. And we've now moved to the qualifying session then. So here's the list: Pirro, Turner, Priaulx, Franchitti, Brabham, Kanaan, De Ferran, Montoya, Magnussen, Castroneves, Fernandez, Montero, Herta, Tracy, Fittipaldi, Papis. That's strong. That is strong.
Who are you calling them? Who's your favourite?
I'm going Pirro. I know that's boring because he's at the top of the times after practice, but I think Pirro. Yourself?
Yeah, that's so classic. You just look at the order and just see who the quickest guy is as per. I'm gonna go. I think Gilles de Ferran. I think he's a calculating guy. He's switched on. I imagine he's been processing all the info through practice. The times are so close, and I think that's where you've been duped into going for the leader. I think the wily old fox of Gilles de Ferran.
Okay. Let's see what happens then. Here's Andy Prio, multiple world touring car champion, as he comes out of the final corner now to start his flight. Even just the way the cars are leaning, we're on board with him up in the top rides as well. See how much work he's doing as he turns into the first corner. Just a bit of understeer, then a lot of oversteer.
Looks horrendous to drive. These onboards, they're great now in the corner. Loads of understeer as he turns in, and then on gas, just struggling for grip and just fighting it. Actually, it was worse out of cops, was it? No, because it goes all the way down the straight trying to get his Brabham car down to the hangar straight and Brooklands. Turns it in here, the left-hander. He's going to go fairly wide of that apex. Nice wet line there for Andy Prio. Tucks it in on the inside of Luffield. Still fighting. These cars just look really, really difficult to drive. Gets it straight. That was a bit better traction. Let's see what Prio can do. Paul Tracy's at the top at the moment.
And Franchitti goes to the top, 0.2 quicker than Emanuele Pirro. And then to the top, I think that's Juan Pablo Montoya. That is the no-name driver up into first position. Here comes Jan Magnussen, Formula One driver in 97, 98, then going on to have huge success in GTs, 4 times winner in class at Le Mans, and he goes across the line in 5th position. 4-time sports car champion as well. 4 Sebring wins for Jan Magnussen, and of course, British Formula 3 champion. I've committed to that. I can't remember the year. 94, I'm going to go with. And here he comes then. Down the Wellington Straight. But I think it's Montoya on pole at the moment, 600ths ahead of Dario Franchitti, with Emanuele Pirro in 3rd, Darren Turner 4th, Magnussen 5th, and Pirro now to the top of the times. It's also worth pointing out these guys, they're not sort of super rusty, because a lot of them still race things. You know, Emanuele Pirro always races at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and Members Meeting and Revival. The same is true of Franchitti and Prio, and Turner's always out there. Jan Magnussen still is involved in racing, so they're not that long out of the cockpit, if at all, to a degree.
No, and it's also interesting to see the lap times are actually fairly similar to what everyone else has been doing in the Tatus as well. The F4 equivalent. This is an old F1 Brabham, and they're about a second adrift with none of the downforce or grip. Here goes Montoya then, just been knocked down to 2nd place by Emanuele Pirro. Can he get back to the top? I mean, this is an absolute vintage grid in vintage cars. Montoya doesn't improve, but Andy Prio has just snuck ahead of him up into 2nd place.
So it is, and there goes Darren Turner now up into 2nd position as well. This car was driven by Carlos Reutemann and Carlos Pache in period in 1975. The BT44B, this one, as Darren Turner there running in 2nd position. Reutemann won with it at the Nürburgring. Carlos Pache's only race win at his home race in Brazil in 1975 was in one of these cars. Pirro leading on pole position, Turner 2nd, Prio 3rd, 4th for Montoya, 5th for Franchitti. Here comes Darren Turner out of Luffield. Franchitti back up into 2nd place. Not quite enough, and Montoya goes to the top of the times then. Juan Pablo Montoya on provisional pole position. We saw Darren Turner coming out of the final corner. Has he managed to improve his lap time? Gilles de Ferran gets up into 6th place. Turner didn't improve. He remains in 4th. David Brabham goes up into 7th place. Emerson Fittipaldi in 12th position at the moment, a little bit off the pace, not quite as far off as Helio Castroneves. Don't know how many laps Helio Castroneves has done, but here comes Emanuele Pirro then. The checker flag is out. He might just get to the end of this lap. Emanuele Pirro. Provisional pole for Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya versus Pirro as he comes out of the final corner now. across the line, and it times out. So he doesn't get the job done. Juan Pablo Montoya on pole position for the Legends race.
On pole at Silverstone for the first time since 2005, potentially. Juan Pablo Montoya, good to see. He's been quick, actually, to be fair, in the overall race the last couple of weeks, but on pole in the Legends race. And it was still so close, that field. These guys, they don't seem rusty. There was very few mistakes. The lines, everything looked very clean. They're very happy fighting the car that needs fighting. It was good stuff. That all bodes well for a tight race.
Jan Magnussen 9th, Adrian Fernandez in 10th place. Then we've got Montero and Fittipaldi in 11th and 12th spots. Further back in the order, you've got Max Papis, then Castro Neves, Colton Herta, I don't think qualified and may not be racing. So we're about to get going then. Juan Pablo Montoya in the yellow car on pole position. This is going to be quite the fight in the Legends race. Part of the race is All-Star Esports Battle, and these are the old stars getting ready to race as the lights go green. Now, good getaway, from Emanuele Pirro, carving into the lead of the race, goes ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya. So Pirro leads, Montoya's hit him. Round they both go at turn 1. It's like 1973 as they all hit into each other on the exit of Copse Corner, and I would classify that as not having gone well.
Carambolage, that was absolutely. It all came from that man, Juan Pablo Montoya, who's resumed right at the back, just getting into the back of Emanuele Pirro, who had the better start. Montoya just tipped him into the spin. They got such lack of grip already. They got a bit of a slide on it. It's very difficult to catch. And then everyone else just shunting into those two stricken cars. And, with the few that snuck through with Franchitti, Turner and Prio, and they're the top 3 right now.
So Dario Franchitti leading at the end of lap 1 of 11. He's 7 tenths of a second ahead of Darren Turner in 2nd place. Andy Prio's in 3rd spot. David Brabham is 4th. Adrian Fernandez is in 5th place. Herta 6th. De Ferran 7th. Canaan 8th. Pirro 9th. Fittipaldi in 10th position. And here's a look at the replay, Jolien.
Yeah, so it's just there, Montoya. It's just a little tiny tap on the back of Pirro. Really not much, but then everyone just drills into him. And I'll tell you what, I think he's glad that it's a sim race only from that one. That was a pretty hefty contact, about 5 times.
Yeah, that was a big one. My reference to 1973 was the Woodcote corner crash for Jody Scheckter that annihilated a lot of the field. But Dario Franchitti out in front then, 6 tenths of a second ahead of Darren Turner. And then it's a second back to Andy Prio in 3rd position as they come across the line to start lap 3 of 11 now, into the right-hander of Copse Corner. Franchitti have raced at Silverstone a huge amount since moving to the German Touring Car Championship, the DTM, in the mid-90s after a little bit of British F3 and other junior single-seater series, whereas Darren Turner will have had a lot of time at Silverstone. Franchitti does do some track days around Silverstone these days. In fact, I think he did one quite recently anyway. But Franchitti into the left-hander now. And Turner's staying with him here.
Yeah, well, didn't Franchitti start getting back into sim racing using Darren Turner's company, his base performance simulators? So now the two of them are running 1-2 and just about managing to drop Andy Prio, who's still doing a good job in 3rd. But they're two of the younger legends probably in the field, Franchitti and Darren Turner, and doing a good job. But then how can they be so consistent in these difficult cars? That's going to be difficult and under huge pressure for Dario Franchitti out front in particular.
Now this is Tony Kanaan running in 7th position. He is trying to fight his way past Brian Herta. So the 49-year-old Herta, the ex-Champ Car and Indycar team owner, the 1993 Indy Lights champion, coming under a bit of pressure from Tony Kanaan. Down into Brooklands. Oh, he's gone for it there, Kanaan. No, not quite. But a great fight between Herta and Kanaan. And we've seen Colton Herta out, Brian Herta's son, in a lot of races so far. So great to have him in the fight. Max Papis is there, running in 10th place, right up behind Tiago Monteiro. The Portuguese racer Monteiro just in front of the Italian Max Papis, 5-time Le Mans podium finisher, 3-time Champ Car race winner Papis, up against Thiago Montero, former Formula One driver for Jordan.
Former podium finisher for Jordan
Yes.
in US in 2005, Thiago Montero. Some serious Formula One pedigree. Just holding off Max Papis then in the battle for ninth. Someone's rejoining there, and that's
Pirro.
Pirro.
So Emanuele Pirro has made a mistake at Beckett's, has rejoined the track, and who's that? Spinning back onto the circuit. It's all sorts of chaos further back. Is that, I think that was Frank, was it Franchitti? Him and Turner are very close together. No, I think he's still going, Dario Franchitti. It looked like his sort of blue-purpley car. Brabham is up into third place, battling with Andy Prio, but Franchitti's still leading as they come across the line to start lap 6 of 11.
So in all of that, Franchitti's just opened up a bit more of a gap. Here's a move from Brian Herter on the back of Max Papis, but he chooses not to have a lunge into Cobbs. To be bold at any time. Here we go. He's still very close, though. Look to the inside at Beckett's. That'll do. That'll do. Too deep, though, on the brakes. And Papis straight back through. Really good racing all the way down. And very respectful between these two as well. 8th and 9th, Papis and Brian Herter.
Here's Pirro getting past Thiago Montero. So Emanuele Pirro up into 5th position. Thiago Montero down into 6th place as Pirro tries to climb back up the order. He's got 10 seconds to get to Adrian Fernandez out in front. Franchitti still leading as he starts lap 7 of 11. Darren Turner in 2nd spot, 1.3 seconds back. David Brabham is in 3rd position, 4th for Fernandez, 5th for Pirro, Montero, Magnussen, Papis, Herter and Montoya. The rest of the top 10. Yellow flag in sector 1, so someone's had a little bit of a moment.
I think it's Brian Herter's just dropped back and plumb last right now as well. So that's Brian Herter somewhere in that battle has dropped to the back. He was with Max Papis, wasn't he? Really, really close. And Montoya now is on his charge with no name, and he's just passed Papis on the times. So Montoya back up to 8th, but still 5 seconds off Emanuele Pirro, the man he hit when they were leading the race off the line.
Lap 8 of 11, Franchitti leading 1.1 seconds ahead of Darren Turner in 2nd place. Then it's David Brabham here in 3rd position. A handful of Formula One starts for David Brabham with the SimTech team. Has since gone on to, well, and before that as well, raced in all sorts of things as David Brabham, the 54-year-old Australian, a 3 times Le Mans winner. Round goes Jan Magnussen. He and Thiago Montero coming together, and that is 2 places gained for Juan Pablo Montoya, who's now back up into, well, he was back up into 6th place, but then he ended up in the gravel. So Montoya dropping down the order. Up in the top right, you are on board, I think, with Dario Franchitti, but Magnussen having a little bit of a spin, but still holds on to 6th place after all that.
Yeah, and Montoya, I think, lost it all on his own, trying to have both Magnussen and whoever he hit. I can't remember now. But where's Andy Prio gone? Prio was the man in 3rd, and he's just vanished off our timing screen. So maybe a DNF for Andy Prio, which has put David Brabham up into 3rd place.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So Andy Prio maybe in a little bit of trouble somewhere, or has had a bit of a disconnect. Lap 9 of 11, Dario Franchitti leading, still just 1 second ahead. Thiago Montero super late on the brakes, trying to get past Max Papis for 7th position. And Franchitti still leading, the 2nd clear of Darren Turner. They're all starting to spread out a little bit. But this is the thing, whoa, late in the day, Montero up the inside of Max Papis, and that's 7th place.
Nice move there. Late in the day, didn't want to show anything to Papis, so Papis would defend it. Just dived out, nice and clean move for Montero. And of course, it was him that got binned off by Jan Magnussen on the last lap as well. So he's making up for a bit of lost ground. And they're both back to where they were pretty much, 6th and 7th.
Now, the interesting thing here is whether these guys are going to get the bug, and whether they'll be, we'll have a Legends race every weekend. Oh, there's someone arriving backwards into Brooklands. And it was Brabham. It was David Brabham, spun around and has lost third place now to Adrian Fernandez. We're on board with Dario Franchitti, though, starting the final lap of the race. Lap 11 of 11 for the Scotsman.
Doing everything right so far. Dario Franchitti, still 1.2 seconds. Can't afford to put a wheel wrong at the moment. But he hasn't for 10 laps, still sliding it into Beckett and onto the back straight. That's Emerson Fittipaldi, who he's trying to put a lap on but doesn't need to, just ahead. So Franchitti still with no one ahead in terms of race performance. There's more cars rejoining. That's Brian Herter coming out of Brooklands. But here we go, Franchitti, one more corner.
Through the final corner at Luffield, and then the first Legends race of the race's all-star esports battle. It's going to be Dario Franchitti that wins again, once again on the top step of the podium. Franchitti victorious at Silverstone, 1.2 seconds ahead of Darren Turner in second place, and Adrian Fernandez is going to finish in third position, just ahead of David Brabham, who will be kicking himself for that spin down at Brooklands. Fifth for Emanuele Pirro, after he took second on the grid, wasn't he? And then took the lead and then was spun around by Montoya. Jan Magnussen in sixth place. Thiago Montero will be in seventh position. And yeah, let's hope these drivers get the bug and then want to do it again, I guess.
Yeah, it was good stuff. The level was really high, particularly the top 2 or 3, including Prio, who vanished. But Franchitti and Turner, really good pace, consistency, and never making any mistakes despite having a lot of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Franchitti wins, and it is second for Darren Turner, third for Adrian Fernandez, fourth for David Brabham, fifth for Emanuele Pirro, sixth for Jan Magnussen, Gilles de Ferran, 11th. Emerson Fittipaldi, after only 2 hours practice, that's a good effort to get to the end, quite frankly. I know that sounds a little bit patronising, but the 73-year-old did a very good job there. But it is Franchitti, Turner, Fernandez, Brabham, and Pirro who are the winners in that race, who are the top 5 anyway. But Franchitti, Turner, and Fernandez are on the podium. That was good stuff, and a great car as well. It was great seeing them slide around, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I would like to see the other guys, all the regulars in the... It looked just understeering into every corner, and then pretty much mid-corner, you just get a snap of oversteer that you never get out of whilst you're trying to get on the throttle. So that was really cool. And I don't know how the young guys would adapt to that, because you get so used to driving now with planted grip. If you have a little bit of understeer, a little bit of oversteer, now you're talking about just a minute correction on the steering wheel, let alone what these guys have just had, which is armfuls of opposite lock every corner.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I think we've got Emanuele Pirro to talk to us now. Emanuele, I mean, a shame about the start, but you had a good race back through the order.
Yeah, well, I would like to say bloody South Americans, with all due respect, because because Juan Pablo just had a very optimistic braking on turn 1. I was happy with the start. It was good, and then I had a collision with Tony Kanaan. But apart from this, it was really great, and the old cars are so cool. You know, just the power slide, and I really enjoyed it very much. Often I thought I would have liked to be a racing driver of the 60s and the 70s, and I can only confirm that. Thank you guys for that.
Great, thank you, Emanuele. Did you enjoy it? Would you do more racing, do you think?
Yeah, I've lost a few hair, which, you know, there are not many left on top of my head, but yes, and especially with all the other guys. I mean, all of them were good friends and very good drivers. So especially Emo Fittipaldi, so much respect for him joining the race with us. Lots of IndyCar drivers, just unbelievable. So I really hope there will not be many occasions, because, of course, the reason why we're all free is because of this world situation that nobody's really wishing for. But yeah, the answer is yes. I would like to do more.
And if you were we know you're a driver steward in the Formula One races. What would you have said about Montoya's move? Would you have given him a penalty, do you think?
Well, first of all, I hope you noticed that I never left the track, which wasn't easy. And talking about stewards, there's a difference between aggressive driving and dirty driving. So I just think Juan Pablo is an aggressive driver, and well, he was optimistic, but you know, this is real racing. We had a lot of fun, and it was really great. And for me, it was really a treat to race against and with all the other guys of such a caliber. So yeah, pat on the shoulder to everybody. No penalties, no drive-throughs, and one beer. Let's say one Corona beer for everybody.
Okay.